This is a Dayton 24/7 Now Code Red weather alert.
That's right. We have turned our set red tonight for that code red weather alert.
I'll give you a live look now from our EcoPlumber Skycam. Now you can see the snow already coming in. Visibility in many spots not looking so great right now. So let's check in with Nick Maruziak, who's in tonight for Natalie. Nick.
Yeah, we are talking about a pretty major snow event in the grand scheme of things. We do have some bands of really intense snowfall still across the area. Where we have seen the heaviest is the southern part of Miami County in towards Clark, also in towards Champaign counties and out to the west. Speaking of out to the west, what we are watching is when exactly the snow will end, likely to end sometime after dark. So for the next few hours, we do expect there to be bands of inches of snowfall. If we've made any changes just to move ever so slightly the heaviest bands further north into Miami County, but the general theme is for 2 to 4 inches across most of the area, and there could be a local 5. Basically, we are talking about the type of snow that is going to make things very, very much snow covered and make travel very difficult outside. One thing I'd like to point out, for the next few hours, snow will continue, but it will become flurries as we get into overnight tonight.
Well, as Nick just said, that Miami Valley can expect those snow flurries to continue well into this evening tonight. Lydia Bice, live in Miamisburg, spoke with ODOT and the city of Dayton and Montgomery County engineers today about how they prepare for all this. What did they tell you?
Adam, yeah, I can tell you firsthand that these agencies were preparing our roads way ahead of time, even this morning, because I followed an ODOT truck all the way to work this morning down 75, which you see behind me here, as they were throwing salt down, preparing our roads for this snow that you see right here, right now. But ODOT isn't the only agency that was out preparing our roads today. I spoke with the City of Dayton engineer and Montgomery County engineer as to what their agencies were doing ahead of time.
Going to be out on the routes. We're doing what we call full run, which is a little over 40 trucks. That'll be out driving, monitoring conditions.
We have 20 snow routes, which we'll keep full.
Now, I would imagine in all this, they have some advice if you do want to go out tonight.
That's right. All 3 of the agencies that I spoke to today want to make sure that our viewers at home know to leave extra room between their vehicles and plow trucks. They also want you to be extra careful on hills, bridges, and curves. Now, also, if you haven't already, be sure to download the Dayton 24/7 Now app, where you can get the latest weather and traffic updates. And now that especially comes in handy during severe weather. Back to you.
Lydia, thank you. I now want to give you a live look at our roadways. Here's some live ODOT cameras. This here is actually 75 at 3rd Street. You can barely see the traffic moving here. 75 at Northwoods Boulevard, traffic moving very slowly. Looks like there's some sort of accident going on here. I can see flashing lights, but traffic also barely moving at 70 and 75. So this snow really causing some issues already on our roadways. Gwyneth Falloon is out on our first warning weather vehicle. And Gwen, what are you seeing where you are?
Elise, we are driving on State Route 36 in Piqua here in Miami County, where Nick had just mentioned some of the heavier snowfall is coming down. Let me bring you a live look at what we're seeing right now. You can see here there is some very limited visibility. You can just see the headlights of those vehicles just ahead of us. We got up here to Piqua about an hour ago, right around 5 o'clock, and the roads were fairly clear. However, within just the last hour, within the last few minutes actually, the roads have really become snow covered. There are some slick spots out here. People are driving much slower, keeping their distance out here. We drove up to Miami County around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and the roads were clear. So really just within the last few hours, we've seen some pretty consistent snowfall again here in Piqua on State Route 36. But we're going to be out for the rest of the night monitoring these road conditions and what's going on our roadway. So be sure to tune into Dayton 24/7 Now on air, as well as online at Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
And of course, if it is safe to do so, we want to see your photos and videos of the snow. If you have something to share, grab your phone, scan that QR code. It'll take you to our Chime In page. You can upload your photos or videos directly to us, and you might even see it tonight here on Dayton 24/7 Now.
We want to go now to the tragic developments surrounding a statewide Amber Alert this week. 5-year-old Darnell Taylor was found dead early this morning in South Columbus. His legal guardian, Pammy May, taken into custody in a Cleveland suburb and charged with murder. Steve Levine breaks down what we know.
Law enforcement made the horrific discovery early this morning here in Franklin County. They found the body of 5-year-old Darnell Taylor in this storm drain. Right above it right now, you can see a homemade memorial, a blue bunny, and a number 5 for the 5 years that child was when his life was taken. He and his legal guardian, Pammy May, had not been seen since early Wednesday morning, when an Amber Alert was issued. The search was on for those nearly 48 hours until last night. Pammy May found in the city of Cleveland. She told investigators where they could find the body of the 5-year-old. He was discovered here early this morning. May now charged with murder. Here in Franklin County, Steve Levine for Dayton 24/7 Now.
Tonight, we have confirmed the assistant chief of the Miami Township Police Department has now been placed on administrative leave. We actually got a hold of the following allegations of misconduct. Assistant Chief Jason Etter was given this letter today. The township accuses Etter of failing to report or investigate claims of harassment. He's also accused of failing to investigate allegations of racism against a local judge. The report goes on to say Etter was, quote, generally condescending, misogynistic, and rude. Miami Township opened the investigation back in December and says Etter will have a chance to defend himself at a disciplinary hearing. Also tonight, a New York judge coming down hard on former President Donald Trump and his companies. Adam, at the Now Desk, what is this decision?
So the judge ruled against Trump and his companies, imposed a $364 million fine. It's over what the judge ruled was a years-long scheme to dupe banks and others with financial statements that inflated Trump's wealth. Now, New York Attorney General Letitia James had sued Trump over what she said was years of deceptive practices as Trump built a multinational collection of properties. State lawyers said by making himself seem richer, Trump then qualified for better loan terms, saved on interest, and was able to complete projects he might otherwise not have finished. Now, Trump's lawyers are expected to appeal.
President Biden visiting East Palestine as we speak right now. It is his first visit since that toxic train derailment more than a year ago. He spoke in the village to say the incident was fully preventable.
There are acts of God
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
As we approach President's Day, the land of Lincoln is covered in snow. Several inches blanketed the capital of Springfield this morning. Winter is also very much alive at Bear Lake on the Utah-Idaho line. And Birmingham meteorologist James Spann calls this photo a stairway to heaven over Alabama. And we head into the holiday weekend with a beautiful sunrise over Reno, Nevada.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
Another day full of twists and turns in the Jason Meade murder trial. It ended in mistrial twice today. Meade is the former Franklin County deputy out in Columbus who shot and killed Casey Goodson Jr. back in 2020. Now, jurors were asked to rule on 2 counts of murder and 1 of reckless homicide. Kate Seifert breaks down today's events.
You are hereby excused from further jury service on this matter.
Inside the courtroom, an emotionally exhausted jury told the judge they could not reach a verdict. Casey Goodson's family also visibly frustrated as we watched them leave the courthouse. This after a very confusing day that saw a ton of twists and turns.
You are the hardest working jury I've ever had, but I'm going to declare a mistrial on this, and you're going to be free to go.
After bringing in a 4th alternate and having to start deliberations over on Friday morning, Judge David Young declared a mistrial. But moments later, he took that decision back.
I'm going to set aside the mistrial, and the jury is going to continue to deliberate.
So is this normal? Goodson's family attorney told us he's never seen it before. We asked Meade's attorney, Mark Collins, the same question.
The easy answer is no, but understand that the complications of this case and the complications of the situation, that there's no issue there whatsoever.
Collins says he believes the jury gave the case their best try and told us former Deputy Meade feels the same.
Jason wanted us to pass along to you guys and the community how much he supports the jurors' effort and their fairness and impartiality. And we place jurors in impossible situations because they have to be clinicians. They can't use empathy and sympathy.
Now the defense says it will wait to see if this case will be retried.
We'll be ready and to go forward anytime we're supposed to, and we look forward to it.
Back here in the Miami Valley, you can see our roadways are awfully snow covered. This is in the Troy, Miami County area tonight. This is a look live from our first warning weather vehicle. Now, Nick, I know you've been keeping an eye on this system as it's been moving its way toward us. So when will the snow actually stop coming down?
It's probably going to be a while here, Elise, as we continue to see the snow come down. One thing we have been tracking is visibility. It gives you an idea of how the heavy snow is falling. Anytime you start to see visibility under a mile, of course, it's a lot more difficult to see. One thing that I have been tracking is the precipitation rate itself, 0.09. You go, that's not that bad. But remember, 10 to 15 to 1, that's the snow ratio. So effectively, we're talking about potentially 1 inch to 1.5 inches an hour. The only thing that would stop that from sticking around is if temperatures were above freezing. We're all below freezing. In essence, that is why we're starting to see everything stick around. In terms of tonight, I do expect the periods of heavy snow to transition to more flurries. Think around maybe 10, 11 or somewhere in that ballpark. Then from there, if you're waiting till tomorrow morning, we're pointing out it's going to feel like the single digits. So be prepared for a very cold start to the day tomorrow and a cold day overall, as highs only stay in the upper 20s, and with the winds factored in, it's going to feel like the teens. So it's a return to winter, and again, right for now, heavy snow still continues across the entirety of the Miami Valley.
The National Museum of the United States Air Force has opened a new exhibit designed for the whole family. It's called Dinosaurs in Motion. The exhibit is an interactive STEAM exhibit centered on educating visitors on science and engineering. There are 14 life-size metal dinosaur sculptures inspired by real fossils, all made out of recycled materials. And you can actually make the dinosaurs move with a lever and pulley system. The museum says it is a fun and educational exhibit.
The thing I like about this exhibit is there's challenging information to not only the K through 12 students, but if you're in an engineering program at one of the local universities, you're going to be inspired or at least see some pretty complex use of those simple machines.
Now, the exhibit opens tomorrow, runs through May 13th. Admission is free.
A story now from our partners at the Dayton Business Journal. A new senior residential community may be coming to the Fairborn area. This here is the proposed model of what that community could look like. The community, dubbed Senior Village at Valley Greene, would bring 70 single-story multifamily units for a 55-plus residential community. Oberer Companies is partnering with St. Mary Development Corporation to develop the project.
Good evening. Just got an update from the National Weather Service. They have fully upgraded us to a winter storm warning. Not that that changes our forecast at all. It just changes basically that we do expect more, let's say, 4s and maybe a couple more 5s as opposed to 3s and 2s. That being said, whether it's 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, this is going to be a problem, especially for anybody trying to travel in the next 2 or 3 hours. Just to give you context, I have actually measured this before. This is downtown to our Kim. It's only about 1.5 miles, so not being able to see downtown gives you some context. We are talking about really intense snowfall rates. The only spot that has started to maybe get a little bit lighter is Salina, Wapakoneta, but even still, it is still pretty good snowing. Up until 10-11, from that point on, it becomes more flurries, on again, off again snow, could continue into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, the second half of the day will clear out. I do expect it to be a relatively cold day for tomorrow, but the coldest period overall is going to be Sunday morning. Beyond that, we warm up and start to melt the snow by the middle of next week.
Let's give you a live look right now of our ODOT cameras across the Miami Valley. I am hearing that on 70, it is kind of a mess heading out towards the airport. Traffic is backed up. In fact, I haven't actually seen a car go by on the one side of the highway there for quite a while. 75 at Northwoods Boulevard. Things are now picking back up. There was an accident out there slowing things down, but you can see much of the Miami Valley is still seeing that snow. And of course, as Nick mentioned, we'll keep an eye on things for you.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
the Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
All right, we'll continue to keep our live coverage of the ongoing snow event here in Dayton. This is the view. Kind of interesting because the southern part of our area was just a touch warmer and perhaps a little bit drier, and we did not get quite as much snow in and around that area. But still, we are talking about a pretty hectic snowfall event here across the board. Worth pointing out that within the last maybe 5 minutes or so, there has been a winter storm warning. If anything, it's a slight upgrade. So Greenville, Sidney, Bellefontaine, Wilmington. The main message is this: whether it's 3 inches, 6 inches, 5 inches, 4 inches, or 2.5 inches, this is going to be a mess to drive in. And because the snow will continue here across the area, we do expect probably some really hazardous driving conditions at the absolute best. In terms of where the heaviest snowfall continues, right now it's probably in the area of 70 and 675 over in towards Beaver Creek area. You're likely to see the heaviest snowfall. Xenia as well. Anywhere south of Wapakoneta, likely to get into that viewed several inch category. So again, we are talking about a decent snowfall event and the type of snow that is going to come down in the inch and a half territory. In terms of temperatures, it's in the 20s, and the reason why I bring this up is sometimes as these temperatures creep up around freezing, you don't get quite as much of a snow ratio and a lot of it melts. With temperatures squarely in the 20s for most of us, that's not going to happen, and that's why I do think it's going to start stacking up here. Not necessarily that it hasn't, but really start to stack up. In terms of tonight, temperatures in the teens for tomorrow, so if you're going to snow plow tomorrow, be prepared for a cold start. Tomorrow, temperatures upper 20s, and beyond that, we are going to be looking at temperatures warming up next week.
All right, well, we got to look at Troy behind us. That was an area that was hit pretty good, especially from a visibility standpoint.
Absolutely, that snow coming down pretty quickly.
So we'll keep monitoring this. We got live coverage coming your way on Fox 45 next.